Tonight, massive rallies around the globe demanding regime change in Iran. Hundreds of thousands take to Canadian streets in solidarity with those half a world away.
We will march, we will speak, we will yell.
What they're calling for the Canadian government to do next. Plus, spotlight on security.
We absolutely welcome all words and efforts to strengthen our alliances.
The moves Canada is making at a major summit in Munich. And the special way love is being spread this Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's Day.
The heartwarming tale of how one group is making sure seniors feel embraced.
I feel so special, and I thank you with all my heart and soul.
CTV National News with Heather Butts. Reporting tonight, John Venevali Rao.
Good evening. It was a massive protest that may well have been the largest ever in Toronto. Hundreds of thousands taking to the streets in a show of solidarity with anti-government protesters in Iran. Incredible sights like this seen in cities right across the globe, with those taking part calling for regime change, something the U.S. president has agreed would be best. But as CTV's Kamal Karamali reports, Canada hasn't been as firm.
Behind every voice, under every sign, and with every step, there is a growing anger against the Iranian regime.
We are looking at all the people they killed. The Islamic regime killed all of these people.
Reportedly responsible for killing thousands of civilians during last month's anti-government protests that swept across Iran, with the death toll still expected to grow significantly, according to human rights groups. Mohammed Hadi from Toronto says he lost this young family member gunned down by Iranian government forces.
He's just fighting for the freedom. They shot him in the head.
Nearly 400,000 people here at this rally, according to police, shutting down a stretch of Yonge Street, a major corridor in Canada's largest city. Among all the noise, there's a clear message here that Canada call for a change in Iran's regime and recognize exiled Crown Prince Reza Pahlavi as the country's new leader.
We want revolution, and King Reza Pahlavi is our alternative.
Who pushed for U.S. intervention today.
The regime is at the weakest it's ever been. It's on the verge of collapse. It's a matter of time before this regime goes.
U.S. officials have told Reuters their military is preparing for the possibility of operations against Iran that could last weeks if President Donald Trump orders an attack.
If they give us the right deal, we won't do that.
With more talks between the U.S. and Iran scheduled for next week. Today, Canada's Foreign Affairs Minister announced additional sanctions against Iran, but fell short of calling for a change in power, telling CTV News Canada will continue to hold this regime fully accountable for its grave human rights violations. Back at Toronto's rally, 11-year-old Maduk Amiri fearful for her family back home.
I have no idea if they're alive, if they're dead, which is really lots of pressure because I have school, I have tests.
Pressure to find peace before tensions turn into an all-out war. Kamal Karamali, CTV News, Toronto.
The Global Day of Action for Iran also saw protests pop up in other cities across Canada, including in Montreal, where hundreds marched in solidarity calling for emergency support, freedom, and also regime change. And this was the scene outside a security conference in Munich, Germany, where an estimated 250,000 people made similar demands. Many traveled from across Europe to attend the rally, said to be the largest Munich has seen in years. A Canadian contingent has made its way to Germany for that security conference, where there was a shift in tone today from America's Secretary of State. With more on that, here's CTV's Jeremy Sharon.
As Canada's Foreign Affairs Minister joined world leaders at the Munich Security Conference, much of the attention was on her U.S. counterpart, who delivered this message about the transatlantic alliance.
We are prepared, if necessary, to do this alone. It is our preference, and it is our hope to do this together with you, our friends here in Europe.
A reassuring message for European allies. Ahead of the conference, organizers released the annual Munich Security Report, which said bluntly that the world has entered a period of wrecking ball politics.
We absolutely welcome all words and efforts to strengthen our alliances. But we've heard our Prime Minister, we're pragmatic. We recognize that the world is changing.
Canada's Minister of Artificial Intelligence, on the sidelines of the conference, today signed a deal with Germany to expand collaboration on AI and launched a joint sovereign technology alliance.
That means Germany and Canada are going to cooperate on everything from AI safety, AI research, and most importantly, business, jobs, and job creation.
Canada's Defence Minister addressed strengthening defence industrial cooperation, referencing what he called the largest reinvestment in Canada's military in more than half a century.
We're looking at a complete rebuild of the Canadian Armed Forces, top to bottom, from the bases up. We're procuring, frankly, hundreds of billions of dollars of equipment.
Meanwhile, at the conference, Canada also signed a deal with Denmark to work more closely on Arctic security and defence.
We need to all acknowledge the changing global threat environment and the importance of supporting each other.
Prime Minister Mark Carney was supposed to attend the Munich conference, but cancelled his travel after the tragedy in Tumbler Ridge, BC. John?
All right, thanks. CTV's Jeremy Sharon in Ottawa tonight. The tragic mass shooting in Tumbler Ridge is, of course, still on the minds of many Canadians as the BC community continues to mourn. And tonight, they're receiving a show of support from several provinces away.
Oh, Canada, our home and native land.
A somber crowd gathered in Toronto this evening for a vigil to honor the victims of the shooting. It was organized by a former resident of Tumbler Ridge and was a chance to share in their grief.
I think that it's so much better to share it with others and have the opportunity to mourn together and not feel alone with the sadness.
It comes on the heels of a moving vigil in Tumbler Ridge last night, attended by the Prime Minister and other political figures, during which they pledged the support of the country to the community as it deals with the shooting that killed 8 people, mostly children, and the suspected shooter. A new survey is taking a look at the issue of the separatist movement in Alberta, suggesting a majority of Canadians believe the United States would support a breakup. Here's CTV's Kathy Lee.
Division is growing over Alberta separation.
I don't think it's that bad of an idea.
I think it's really dumb. It's just better to stay together and have unity in the country.
Unity is what the Prime Minister has been calling for as separatism sentiment in the province intensifies. Now new data is shedding light on how Canadians see their neighbour to the south. Nano's research surveyed over 1,000 Canadians on Alberta separatism, revealing 4 in 5 believe the United States would support the province leaving the country, with people in the prairies reporting the highest level of that belief.
The figures represent what might be called a perception of opportunistic realism. Canadians clearly now believe the United States would support the breakup of Canada rather than being a neighbor that is committed to a unified and strong Canada.
They're not thinking too much about the implications of a divided Canada on their doorstep. It's more about rhetorical, sowing division and trying to gain leverage where they can.
Experts say that perception is fueled by rhetoric from the U.S., including Donald Trump's talk of Canada as a 51st state. All this while a member of the separatist movement confirmed they have met with U.S. officials.
What we've discovered is that the U.S. is overwhelmingly supportive of what we're doing, and I can't see any reason that they wouldn't continue to be.
For weeks, Stay Free Alberta has been gathering signatures for an independence referendum. Some Canadians believe a U.S. backing could be tied to hopes of Canada joining them.
They want power, and Canada, like Alberta leaving Canada, could help them.
Experts say Alberta joining the U.S. would upend the American political system, making it a tough sell in Washington. Kathy Lee, CTV News, Calgary.
To Prince Edward Island now, where a new report has looked at the issue of sexual misconduct in schools by staff members and how complaints are being handled. A review found the problem is not rampant, but as CTV's Maria Saru explains, it flagged some gaps in the system.
Sliding a report across his desk, PEI's Education Minister Robin Croucher has been poring over these pages. It's a detailed review into how schools across the province handle complaints about staff sexual misconduct. And its findings, he says, should reassure parents.
Our system is not broken. Our system is working. Are there areas where we can improve? Absolutely.
In the review, former Chief Justice David Jenkins writes 40 separate reports or allegations of sexual misconduct were identified during the 2023 to 2025 period. In the spring of last year, former substitute teacher Matthew Allen Craswell pleaded guilty to sexually touching a student in a classroom at Stratford's Glen Stewart Primary. Last week, Craswell again pleaded guilty to a similar incident that occurred at this school behind me, West Kent Elementary in Charlottetown. In both cases, administrators did not immediately report parents' complaints to police or child protection services. Jenkins writes, schools handled the incidents properly and professionally. Based on all they knew at the time, they didn't suspect Craswell's acts were sexual in nature. But information gained during later interviews and Craswell's subsequent revelations of malicious intent changed the picture. The president of PEI's Home and School Federation says it's important to catch cases early.
We really need robust frameworks to address not only adult on student harm, but student on student harm as well.
And Croucher says some of the report's recommendations are in progress or already in place.
We didn't wait for this report to come to my desk.
Croucher adds a central tracking system is coming by April to log complaints and interventions across the province's schools. Maria Saru, CTV News, Charlottetown.
The sheriff leading the search for the mother of Today Show host Savannah Guthrie says he remains hopeful Nancy Guthrie will be found, but he cautions that it could take months or even years. Last night, law enforcement officials executed a search warrant on a house near Nancy Guthrie's neighborhood in Tucson, Arizona. Authorities also seized a Range Rover SUV that was hauled away. Police say they're analyzing DNA found at Guthrie's property that did not belong to her or anyone in close contact with her. It's been 2 weeks since the 84-year-old was last seen. Coming up, preserving an important piece of Canada's past.
The Colored Hockey League of the Maritimes deserves a place in hockey history.
How awareness is being raised about an historic hockey league in time for Black History Month. A group of hockey players took to the ice in Nova Scotia today, taking part in a special game, celebrating a part of hockey history you may not know about, a long-ago all-black league that helped to break the color barrier in sports. Here's CTV's Paul Hollingsworth.
More than just a game and a celebration of Black History Month, this is also a sports journey back in time.
Keep it going, let's go!
To honor the Colored Hockey League of the Maritimes that existed from the late 1800s until the 1930s. Founded by Halifax church leaders, the league featured teams in 7 cities and towns, including the historic Black community, Africville.
The Colored Hockey League of the Maritimes deserves a place in hockey history, not only in the province, but in the country and internationally as well. And tonight is one of those steps.
This is a throwback game, reviving long-lost teams, the Halifax Eurekas and Hammonds Plains Mossbacks, with a big assist from local African Nova Scotian players.
Seeing all these people, getting on the ice with them, getting to play with them or against them, it's great.
To preserve its memory and its legacy, Parks Canada has designated this league as an event of national historic significance.
It's important for the next generation coming up. It's good to know where you come from and the rich history within this game.
5 years ago, Canada Post unveiled this commemorative stamp, and Hockey Nova Scotia has also launched educational initiatives supporting diversity and inclusion within hockey. All part of the effort to make sure the history of the Colored Hockey League of the Maritimes isn't lost to the past. Paul Hollingsworth, CTV News, Dartmouth, Nova Scotia.
Well, still ahead, catching up with a Canadian star on the rise at the Winter Olympics. World Curling has issued a verbal warning to Canada's men's team at the Winter Olympics after a rare heated exchange at Day 7's matchup between Canada and Sweden. Canadian curler Mark Kennedy cursed at the Swedish team after being accused of cheating during Friday's round-robin game. Canada beat the Swedes 8-6, and Kennedy said he had nothing to apologize for.
It just shows how much passion's involved. I mean, these teams have played each other numerous times, and you're at the Olympics. Everyone's trying to do their best for their country. So, you know, when emotions are running hot, things can happen.
Speed skater Laurent Dubreuil is bringing home Canada's 8th medal of the Games. The 33-year-old from Quebec raced his way to bronze in the men's 500 meters. It's his second Olympic medal after winning silver in the 1,000 meters at the Beijing Games in 2022.
I'm a 500-meter skater, and to not have an Olympic medal in my second race, but not have it in my first race felt kind of weird. And I think it was the one thing missing in my resume. Now I have everything I've ever dreamed of having.
And the Canadian women's hockey team is moving on to the semi-final round at the Olympics. Captain Marie-Philippe Poulin returned to the lineup after missing 2 games with an injury. She chipped in with a goal in Canada's 5-1 win over Germany. Poulin's goal was the 18th of her Olympic career, and she's now tied with Hayley Wickenheiser for the all-time scoring record. Meanwhile, Canadian figure skating fans are celebrating a remarkable finish in Milan in the men's single event, where Stephen Gogolov of Toronto fared better than expected in his Olympic debut. It came as spectators also watched one of the biggest upsets the sport's ever seen. Here's CTV's Heather Butts in Milan tonight.
In one of the most highlighted events of the Games, all eyes were on American Ilya Malinin. A heavy favorite, he was expected to pack in 7 quadruple jumps in the men's free skate, but his routine sent him crashing to the ice twice in a stunning and dramatic men's final that left fans in shock.
We cried.
The reigning world champion had been unbeaten for more than 2 years. Kazakhstan's Mikhail Shaidorov topped the podium in what's being called one of Olympic figure skating's biggest upsets.
It was a surprise. We were bummed.
It's a big stage, and, you know, sometimes you can't do your best all the time, and he'll come back.
The unraveling of the performance surprising Canada's Stephen Gogolov, who impressed the audience with his best career performance, placing 5th overall in a promising Olympic debut.
I don't really process it yet, but...
It hasn't set in for you yet?
Oh, no, not yet.
His 5th place finish was the best by a Canadian men's skater since Patrick Chan won silver at the 2014 Sochi Games.
It was a very, very amazing experience, and I think the way I performed yesterday was the best I performed in actually my whole career.
The 21-year-old admits he had modest expectations. Now he couldn't be happier with a result that proves what he is capable of.
What has your first Olympic Games been like overall?
It's been a very fun experience, meeting new people.
The Olympian still getting used to the spotlight, surprised when fans approach him in public, though gracious with his time.
I think it's very special and something new to me because I feel like people around here are much bigger fans of figure skating, or maybe it's just Olympic Games.
Stephen Gogolov is expected to compete for Canada again at the World Championships in Prague in March. For now, he's sticking around Italy to soak in the excitement of his first Olympics. Heather Butts, CTV News, Milan, Italy.
And there will be plenty of excitement there tomorrow as the Canadian men's hockey team takes on France in the final game of the preliminary round. And in the crowd will be a group of Manitoba buddies who are making the trek to Milan to cheer on a longtime friend. And it's not the first time they've gone all out for him. Here's CTV's Alex Karpa.
The one things I got to make sure I have are the Canada attires.
Lucas Fry is packing the essentials for what he says is a trip of a lifetime.
A super cool vintage jacket here.
He and a few of his friends are heading to the Winter Olympics in Milan, ready to cheer on Team Canada and their longtime friend, Seth Jarvis.
A lot of excitement. I don't really know if we know what to expect once we're down there.
Jarvis learned last week he was replacing an injured player on Team Canada. Fry had flights booked to meet Jarvis in Raleigh, North Carolina during the NHL's Olympic break, but those plans suddenly changed.
None of us got flight insurance, so when we found out Seth was going to Milan and not going to be in Raleigh, it was There's mixed emotions.
Hockey fans may already recognize Jarvis's crew. His buddies got international attention during last year's Four Nations face-off final between Canada and the U.S. When their flights to Boston were cancelled, they didn't hesitate, piling into a car and driving 30 hours from Winnipeg to watch Canada play.
Even though we didn't know he was going to be in the lineup, just having the chance for him to be in the lineup and experience that was that much better and a more surreal moment.
The crew is once again reuniting, this time on an even bigger stage, but unlike last time, they won't be racing the clock on the highway. Air Canada has stepped in, arranging flights to get the guys to Milan.
For Matt McLeod, being there in person means everything.
It's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for him, and for us to go watch him do that is going to be amazing, right?
Go, Canada, go!
Getting ready to cheer on their friend and Canada at the Olympics. Alex Carpa, CTV News, Winnipeg.
Good on those guys. Still ahead, a Valentine surprise for a special centenarian. Why someone she's never met made her day a little brighter. Valentine's Day may almost be over, but we're still feeling the love tonight, as are a group of seniors in and around Toronto. A little less alone on this special day thanks to some kind-hearted strangers. And CTV's Mike Walker was there as a 101-year-old got a knock at the door.
Howdy, this surprise, yes.
A special delivery Jenny McIntosh never expected.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Flowers, chocolate, and personalized Valentine's Day cards for the 101-year-old.
They're beautiful.
Made by students she has never met, complete with a bracelet that reads love.
I feel so special, and I thank you with all my heart and soul.
This is part of the Dear Seniors Valentine's Card Drive, an initiative started by Seniors Helpers, an in-home care organization.
Just to show them a little bit more love. Sometimes during, the winter times, it can be a little bit harder for them, tougher for them, can't get outside as much, can't socialize as much. So just wanted them to know that there's other people around that love them.
Students and volunteers have been playing Cupid, designing and packaging the cards.
Happy Valentine's Day.
More than 400 Valentine's cards have been delivered to seniors who live independently with the support of a caregiver like Jenny.
She's lost her family. She's the last one left of 12 children.
Jenny's daughter Charlene says this surprise means the world to her mom.
And she feels very lonely, and to have someone come and surprise her and pay attention to her and give her the love that I think she deserves, I think it means a lot to her.
Deliveries are also being made to seniors at retirement homes across the GTHA and beyond.
So this is actually the 4th year that Senior Helpers has done it, and collectively so far there's been, I believe it's 80,000 cards.
A simple card with a heartfelt message.
You will never be forgotten.
Showing seniors they are valued.
Thank you.
Mike Walker, CTV News.
It's great. That's it for us. For the entire CTV crew, thanks for watching. Marcia McMillan will be here tomorrow. Have a good night.